We often talk about the relationship between God and the Jewish people as being a relationship of love, maybe even a marriage. The experience at Mount Sinai was the wedding. The Torah is our ketubah. But a marriage needs a love story. It needs romance. What was beautiful about much of the work that Debbie Friedman did is she put her finger on the romantic parts of our tradition and brought the romantic words of our tradition to light with music. One of the books of our tradition that she wrote many, many melodies to various verses to was the book of Song of Songs. Deep in our tradition in Ketuvim, which is where I spent most of my time studying with her, when I studied with her, was verses from Ketuvim and Song of Songs in particular. And Song of Songs is the love song between God and the Jewish people. But to have a relationship that builds to the depth of romance that is reflected in Song of Songs, and if you haven't read Song of Songs, I encourage you to read it, especially if you have the joy of having someone in your life with whom you share romantic love. But the story to get there, the opportunity to get to Song of Songs, requires a love story that is more difficult and more challenging. And if Taylor Swift were here, she could tell us her own love story in her song. But as my teacher, Rabbi Aviva Richmond, pointed out in this week, Parshat Bo is the love story of God and the Jewish people, with all of its ups and downs. And I want you to call to mind your favorite sappy, romantic love story that you have read or seen. I'll tell you mine. It's When Harry Met Sally. And there are some similarities to the stories that go in that genre of romantic comedy, a romantic dramedy. There is the chance meeting. There is the wondering, could this person possibly be good for me? There is the second chance meeting. There is the building of a friendship. There is a moment of crisis when that person comes and is there for you to hold you up when there is no one there to hold you up. And eventually there is the realization that this is your person. This is the person who will be with you whenever you need them, and the person to whom you should bind yourself for the rest of your life. Or as Harry says in an exasperated fashion on New Year's Eve, when you finally realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to begin as soon as possible. That is what happens in Parshat Bo. The Jewish people are in the depths of their oppression. They have called out to the Holy One, whom they remember meeting from many, many years ago, right? The God of your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who you might have forgotten about. But remember, I was there for you then, God says. And now we're going to get back together. When the Israelites are stuck in bondage, God doesn't just swoop in and pull them out. God goes to Moses and says, I have heard the cries of my people. And together we are going to bring them forth to freedom. It doesn't happen all at once. It kind of happens overnight when it finally happens. But it took iterations, plagues of God showing not only to Pharaoh and not only to the Egyptians the reaches to which God would go to free God's people, but God was also there to convince the Israelites the depths to which God would go to protect us, to save us, to make sure that we had what we needed. And over the next few weeks of our Torah, we will learn about how that love story turns into a romance, turns into a marriage, turns into the Torah being given at Sinai in a few weeks. But from Parshat Bo, we should remember that the greatest of accomplishments in relationship that we have don't begin up here. They begin down here with a chance encounter, with perhaps a fleeting meeting that could go this way and could go that way. For those of you who have been in a relationship like that, I'm sure you can recall those moments in those relationships where you said, wow, if only that other thing would have gone that way, maybe this would not have happened. I'm looking out at the back of the sanctuary, and I see Mike and Judy Blackman, who in a moment I will invite to join us up on the bema to bless them for a good number of years of marriage that they are celebrating tonight. And what I love in many ways about our tradition is that it's meant to be done in relationship. Yes, you can be a Jewish person alone. But even that last Jew of Afghanistan finally said, you know what, Ganug. Now, he didn't say Ganug, not for 1 second. But he said enough, and he made his way to the land of Israel. Because the beauty of our tradition is when we express it and practice it in relationship. That could be in the romantic relationship that we have, some of us have. That certainly is in the love that is shared amongst the members of our community and our congregation, those of you who are with us tonight in person, and those of you who are joining us virtually as well. But the beauty of our tradition is not just that we express it and practice it in community, but that it pushes us to build relationships along the way. And over the lifetime that we live, our relationships grow and add on to one another until we can say at the end, look what we have accomplished. And then we can look back at the origins of our story and say, thank God those difficult things happened because they led me to where I am today. Shabbat shalom.